It is the oldest Indian dessert on record, first mentioned nearly 5,000 years ago in the Rig Veda. This ancient dessert, known as Malpua, remains popular and is still a beloved treat across South Asia. As Gujaratis, we call it Malpua, and weddings and celebrations are incomplete without it. Across many parts of India, this is the traditional sweet served during Holi. In ancient times, Malpua were made with barley. This is because barley was the main grain of ancient Indians before transitioning to rice and wheat. I've been experimenting with recreating ancient Indian recipes, and of course, I wanted to try the most ancient Indian dessert. So I set about trying to figure out how it would have been made thousands of years ago, and a couple of things. Originally, it was made with barley, and instead of being made with jaggery or sugar, it was made with honey. So let's start by making the barley flour. 3/4 cup of pearled barley will go into a Vitamix or a high-powered blender to make the flour. So I tested this many times, at least 10 times, if not more, maybe 15. And the grind of the barley is really important. You have to make sure that it's ground finely, but that it still has some larger kernels left. And so I found that in the Vitamix, 2 minutes is the perfect time for grinding 3/4 of a cup. So I'm going to start it on low and then move it up to high. Now we have the barley flour. Next, we make the batter. So add about 2 tablespoons of cream. And I'm using water, but you could make the batter with milk instead if you prefer as well. So I'm actually going to add that last. I'm going to add some honey. So I'm going to spray my tablespoon with some oil so that it doesn't stick. 2 tablespoons of honey. 1 and 2. Add about half of the cardamom. We'll save the rest for the syrup as well. And then about half of the saffron as well. And just crush it up in your hands and add it to the batter. Most of the times that I've made this recipe, the best ratio of water to flour is about equal parts, but depending on the day and the humidity, sometimes I need a little bit more or a little bit less. So I add the water last and just add a little bit at a time so I don't end up with too runny of a batter. Okay, this looks good. I think equal parts is just perfect. So I'm using 3/4 cup of water as well, and just mix that in. Going to cover and let rest for 30 minutes. So this has rested for about an hour, and you can see it's really nice and thick. And the saffron is imparting this beautiful golden color. Add 6 to 8 tablespoons of water to get a thick pancake batter consistency. So now I'm going to test the batter. Have a tablespoon of batter here. Drop that into the hot ghee or oil. Typically for frying, we would use a kadhai or something that has a rounded bottom. And I'll show you how a malpua turns out with a rounded bottom pan. It works, and if that's all you have, it is totally fine. But it does come out a little bit more oblong than it does round. When I use a flat bottomed pan, I can control the shape a little bit better. But honestly, either one works just fine. And it looks really puffy. It looks like a bhajia. It does have this little nice malpua hole, but it's It doesn't have the traditional Malpua look that I am trying to go for here. So I'm going to swap this. I'm going to pour this hot ghee into a flat bottom pan, and I'm going to show you the difference. Okay, so I have my flat bottom pan here, and I'm just going to transfer the ghee into there. Okay, so I have transferred the hot ghee to a flat bottom pan and let it come back to temperature. And I have the same batter, same consistency. I haven't added any more liquid to it. Just going to pour a tablespoon of that in. And you can see I can control the shape a little bit better. And it is starting to bubble around the edges, which gives it that traditional Malpua texture. Let that cook for a few seconds until it is lightly golden, and flip and continue frying on both sides until it is nice and golden brown. And while that is cooking, I'm just going to add more. So there it is. And the more careful I am about pouring the batter in, the better shape that I will get. And no worries if they start to stick to each other. You can simply separate them with a spatula. And I'm using a silicone tipped spatula here rather than my traditional jarro or slotted spoon, because I don't want to scratch this surface. Okay, that one is almost ready. Repeat until all the malpuas are fried. 1 tablespoon at a time. And carefully add that to there to retain as much of that circle shape as possible. While the malpua are cooling, I'm going to make the honey syrup. So I have a 1/4 cup measure here. I'm just going to spray it with some oil so my honey doesn't stick. Add a 1/2 cup of honey to a pan. So 1/4. And then I'm also going to add a 1/4 cup of water and bring that to a boil. Also add the rest of the cardamom and the saffron strands and bring this to a simmer. Okay, so it's come to a simmer, and that's really all I want from it. And I'm going to transfer the malpua one at a time. I'm just going to put the malpua in there. I'm going to give them a stir. make sure that all of them have a nice coating. My heat is still on, and I'm just going to give them about 30 seconds to a minute in here. Okay, and then I just transfer it back to the plate. Okay, so there we have it. Ancient Barley Malpua. So I'm just going to break one open. It's still nice and warm. It's got crunchy edges and soft interior. The syrup has soaked all the way through. Crunchy and sweet and delicious.